So this Thursday, September 22nd, I hosted an IG Live over at the Buffalo Ambition Beauty Academy Instagram page, speaking all things Latin representation in the beauty space. As a follow-up to that Instagram Live, I wanted to speak on the topic of Latino funding. If you are asking yourself, what is up with all this Hispanic talk? Why are we continuing this conversation? What is going on? If you don't know, from September the 15th to October the 15th, it is Hispanic Heritage Month, which I am so excited and honored to be a part of this cohort, to be a part of this community as a first generation Dominican here in the States, who has the absolute privilege of being able to own a business. So today you are going to learn more about securing funding as a Latino in the United States, okay? I have so much information for you today that hopefully at the end you will be ignited and fueled to start pursuing funding for your business.
Oh, good, you're here. I'm so happy you've decided to get serious about taking your dream business to the next level using funding. No more business loans, no more using your emergency funds, no more confusion on where to start, where to get support, and what to do if and when you get stuck. My name is Sloan. Welcome to the Nothing for Granted podcast. I'm a funding expert, a beauty academy owner, and a homeschooling mom of 4. This is the place to be, to learn tips to get your dream business funded. You're going to learn tactful research and grant writing tips so you can use them while applying to grants. Because I too am a busy visionary CEO / mama / a million other hats, I'm sharing with you my top kingdom entrepreneurship tips. You're going to get answers to questions like, how do I infuse God into my business? How do you juggle all of the things without resenting your work? And how do you market yourself as a freelancer or solopreneur so that you can increase your impact? When you're building something that's never been built before, you need someone that's going to be that tough love friend. You need someone that's going to hold you accountable to the vision that is uniquely yours. Everything, hear me on this, everything that you have experienced has led you up to this very moment. And because of that amazing grace, we're not taking anything for granted. Let's jump right into the show.
All right, visionaries, so if you are not already on my email list, what are you doing? This is the space where you can get to know me a little better, but also get to know all of the upcoming events and things that are going on, such as a very special treat that I have for you towards the end of this year, a very exclusive event. Limited seating will be available. This is the juiciest event of your year. The one event that you need for your business. So if you want to get first dibs on this, you have to be on my email list. You can do so by joining me at buffaloambitionco.com. You will have a pop-up right there and then be entered into the email newsletter. No spam, I promise. Just a way to be poured into even more. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So entrepreneurship as a Latina, that's not a new concept, right? If we look at our culture, if we look at our homelands, whether that's across South America, whether that's across the Caribbean, we are naturally entrepreneurs. That is just a part of our DNA. I feel like if you look back at your family probably had a colmado. They probably had, a cart selling plátanos. They probably sold tortillas in the morning. They probably had their own restaurant or bar, or they had a business at some point in time, because in our countries, not everyone can afford higher education to become accountants. Not everyone can afford to become, corporate executives. That's just not everybody's reality. The truth is that many of our family members had to create these opportunities by themselves, identifying a need or a problem and becoming that solution within their immediate community so that they can provide for their families. So what does this mean? By default, you're an entrepreneur. You have entrepreneurship in your blood. That is just a part of who you are. Let's fast forward to now needing to build this business, right? Let's fast forward to having this big idea here in the States. And here's some interesting facts for you, okay? Because it's going to show you just how skewed the numbers really are. And having this cultural background knowledge, I want to kind of open up your mind and open up this conversation, which may be uncomfortable. Maybe you can identify with one of these stories. So as you probably already know, if you live in Florida, or don't know if you live in any other part of the world, the Hispanic population is growing tremendously. It's actually estimated that by 2060, Hispanics are going to make up about 26% of the population here in the United States. Now, with that, we are growing, okay, at a 34% rate compared to 1% to other small businesses, okay? So our numbers, we are actually, as Latinos, we're starting businesses faster than anybody else. 34% faster than any other ethnicity. We are starting businesses left and right. And it's not only in areas that you might, stereotypically think of, like construction or, cleaning, for example. But we're seeing growth across finance, insurance, the service industry, real estate, transportation. Latinos are literally everywhere, and we're starting businesses left and right, okay? We actually even grew our revenue at a higher rate than any other ethnicity, at 25% per year, compared to white-owned businesses that grew their revenue at 19%. Okay, and of course, if you guys check out the blog, I will link all of the resources of where I pulled these statistics from so that you can read them for yourselves. When we're looking at revenue percentages, when we're looking at how fast we're growing in terms of a population, we're growing in terms of small businesses, we're not tapping into any money. In fact, when it comes to loans, only 51% are securing loans versus 77% for our white counterparts, okay? And we're not even talking about loan amounts, we're talking about across the board. 51%. When it comes to all types of funding, VC funding, traditional, finance funding, we are looking at a 1%, less than 1%, being awarded to Latino-owned businesses, okay? Here's a fun fact for you. And this is, again, I will give you all of the links in the blog, so definitely check that out so that you can read this for yourself. But listen to this. Less than 1% of funds from today's top VC and PE, so investors, I'm not even going to go into the jargon, just investors, wind up in the hands of Latino-owned businesses. In addition, the data suggests that LOBs, Latino-owned businesses, need to enroll twice as many investors to get the same level of funding. Okay, now, here is the crazy part about it all, right? Here's the crazy part. Why do you think it is that we're not getting enough funding, okay? Why do you think it is that investors aren't buying into our businesses versus 40% of white-owned businesses are getting funding from investors, be it VCs, be it PEs, be it angel investors, 40%. However, we are less than 13% likely to get those same opportunities. And only 1%, less than 1%, of us are actually securing funding. Here's the breakdown of that. Number one, I really don't think that there is enough education being put out there for our community to understand that you don't need to go to a bank to secure a loan, right? Because the statistics are against us. Really, one of the best ways for you to build your business as a Latin-owned company is going to be through grants, through investors. Why? Why is that? Well, for a couple of reasons. The first being immediate cash flow. Immediate cash flow. You will have the immediate money and knowledge, right? If you're going through a grant, because you get those mentorships, to sustain the growth that you experience through the immediate money that you get, the cash that you get. So on top of that, when it comes to equity investments, of course, you are giving away a percentage of your equity until you pay that money back. But I'm talking about mass amounts of money that will help you experience the growth that you maybe wouldn't be able to do on your own, or if you do, it would take you years. And instead of it taking you years, it could take you months. You are not only tapping into expertise, but you're tapping into connections. You're tapping into networks. You're tapping into rooms that maybe you otherwise would have never walked into had it not been for this opportunity. But in order for you to secure an investment, you have to know how to speak about your business, how to articulate your mission, how to articulate the problem that you're solving, and what your solution for that really is. And that takes education. No one just builds a business and just gets good at that. You're not just automatically going to be good at talking about your business. It takes time, it takes work, it takes practice. It takes knowing what words to use and what enunciations you should have where, and the articulations of your words, right? Like, this is a skill. It's honest to God, a skill. And I don't believe that there's enough education for Latin-owned business owners to understand that, guess what? You don't need to. Funding through financing is not the only way. Getting in debt for your business is not the only way. There's a better way. But listen to this statistic. 31% of Hispanic entrepreneurs are more likely to tap into their own personal financing, personal savings compared to 24% of white small business owners. So what are we saying? We're saying that we are drafting from our 401ks. We're saying that we're drafting from our kids' savings funds. We're saying that we are asking our friends and family for money to complete what we need to start our businesses, rather than learning how to pitch our programs, learning how to pitch our services, learning how to pitch ourselves, because people don't buy the problems that we're solving. They buy for us. They buy into us, our stories. They buy into our personas. They buy into our identity and the way that we step out into the world, our truth, our stories, right? If we could learn how to do that, then maybe, just maybe, we can tilt the scales on these numbers. Because the truth is that there is funding out there. It's available, right? Everything that you saw, all the numbers that I gave you today, these are numbers for what? For financing. These are numbers for investments, right? And of course, grants. So this is the way that it works, okay? When a funder, at the end of their year, they start looking at their data. Okay, who are we going to give money to at the end next year? All right, well, who was asking for the most money? What are the areas that need us the most? What are the areas that aren't being represented? And what are the areas that are being overlooked, right? These are the questions that they ask themselves. They pull all of the demographic information from their applicants. And now we're going to start to see, right? Because you guys aren't just listening to the podcast, you're actually taking action. You're actually going out there and you're doing the things, you're applying to your grants, you're creating a strategy. You are not going to just sit around and wait for your next big contract, your next big sale. You are actually pursuing the money that's readily available for you as soon as you decide it is. So they take these applications and they say, okay, wow, we're having a lot more Latinos applying for money here, which means that maybe we need to investigate this a little more. Maybe we need to do some more research and see if this is an area that we can support. And now next year, maybe it's not just a grant for women. Maybe it's a grant specifically for Latina women, right? Now we're getting a little more specific. Now we're really starting to hone in on us, because we're getting loud, because we're asking for that money, and because we acknowledge that maybe you won't get it the first time around, but we try again and we try again and we try again and we keep trying for these grants until we get the money that we need. Because like you heard in my other podcast, all you need is one. All you need is one. All you need is that one grant to get you in front of the right people, to get you in front of the right network, to get you the resources and the tools that you need for your business. Because ultimately what we want is to have a business that supports our lifestyle. How beautiful would it be to have a business that can support your desire to be a missionary to New Zealand? Wouldn't that be amazing to have a team that can hold it down for your daily operations so that you could go live in New Zealand for a year and help support the children who are lacking education, who need, whatever it is. That is what funding can do for you. And if you think I'm exaggerating, then you need to go back and listen to a couple of my guest speakers here who were able to do incredible things with the funding that they received. One grant can change everything for you, not just financially, but mentally, it can change everything for you. One grant can give you the confidence you need to now start talking to different people about your business. Because guess what? If you did it once, you could do it again. And if you secured money one time, you could secure money again. And as Hispanics, we need to start getting loud about our place here. I think that oftentimes we're seen as second-class citizens in the United States. And I'm not trying to pin any ethnicity against one another. That is not at all what I'm trying to do. But what I am saying is there is this stigma that we are just here to take people's jobs and to take and take. But actually, we're giving a lot more than what we're taking. Actually, we're giving 34% more problems solved than any other industry, than any other ethnicity, excuse me. So now you're fired up at this point, right? And now you're saying, okay, Sloan, I'm here for it. I love it. I need it. What do I do? What do I do? How can I start applying for grants? How can I start getting the money that I need, really, for my Latin-owned business? Number one, of course, the way that you can start securing funding as a Hispanic-owned business is, of course, visit your local minority business chambers, groups, organizations, and ask them, I need funding for my business. What grants do you have available? What programs do you have in place? I'm not talking about loans. Again, we want to try and do this debt-free. You don't want to be tied down. And there are programs that exist for this. So they actually receive federal money for this. So you could even ask them, hey, this is what I want to do. These are my plans. I know the statistics. I know that we are not getting nearly as much money as anyone else. How can I get loud about this with you guys, and how can I get money to grow my business now? Right now. Number two, of course, once you reach out to your groups and you have these conversations with them, and they may come back to you and they may say, hey, okay, this is what we're going to need from you. This is how you can, how you can improve your chances, whether that's grow your social media following or start a social media page if you don't have one already, build out a business, a website, whether it's, you need to get a business license. These are sometimes going to be requirements of you. And if your county or state is anything like ours, we have grants in place where after you apply, for example, for your business license, they will actually, there's a grant where they will reimburse you that money. So sometimes you may have to have an upfront cost, but then on the back end, you'll get that money back. So ask about, rebated programs like that. Then the next place that I would actually look is the Funding with Foresight matrix. I have an entire section specifically for minority-owned businesses. And these amounts range anywhere from $4,000 to $40,000 to even $1 million. So you definitely want to, if you're not already on the Funding with Foresight matrix, you want to hop onto this resource. Again, it's the #1 resource for visionary female CEOs so that we can continue eradicating the gap that exists for women in funding. And if that resonates with you, if you are like, yes, I need it, I need money, I need to get on this, then yes, you do need to get on this. I want to see you on this matrix. You'll get monthly trainings in our exclusive page where I just give you tips on how to enhance your application. You'll get opportunities to ask your questions within the group. So definitely check that out. It is going to be linked down below so that you can grow your business in 2022, 2023, and beyond. Visionary, if this resonated with you, if this episode resonated with you at any capacity, if during this episode you had some people on your mind that you were like, you know what? Yeah, I know somebody who could use this information. I know somebody who needs to hear this. Really, the core problem here is the cultural component, okay? And this piece may be hard for you to swallow, but it has to be said. In our countries, we don't really trust the government. We don't trust the government. We don't trust the banks. We don't trust, quote unquote, the man because of political and economic instabilities that we have experienced. And so that cultural trauma really does get filtered down the line. And so even now, maybe if you're asking yourself, and when I read this, I had to take a step back and I had to ask myself like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that might actually be really true. That might actually be really true. I don't trust the banks because, in my country, the banks are thieves. They literally, my grandfather working for a huge company had his entire retirement stripped from under him by a massive, massive financial company. And so I have those traumas and I had to work through that to understand the root of why it is that going to a bank and asking for a loan to me is preposterous. Yes, I went there. It is absolutely ridiculous. Not even in buying my house do I want to go through a bank because I just have zero trust in them. I have zero trust in them. I have zero trust in their processes. I have zero trust in the biases. I've had conversations with grant administrators who used to work in the banking system, and they were very transparent about the prejudices that exist in the financial space of receiving a loan. So for me, yeah, I refuse to go to a bank and get a loan and give them my money and get in debt with them in order to build a vision that God put on my heart. I truly believe that if God put it on my heart, it's because he's already made a way, he's already made a path, he's already going to provide. But I say all of that because this is an episode that needs to be shared. You need to share this episode with your friends, with your family, so that they can understand that there is a better way. You can build your incredible business with a massive message, with a massive mission, and you could change the world and bring about generational wealth through your business. And you don't have to do that by tapping into your savings. You don't have to do that by going to the banks if you don't want to, but you do need to get educated. You do need to start taking the time to understand what those solutions are that are available for getting the money you need to build your dream business and build your vision the way that it deserves. Zero compromises, zero settling. This is something that is totally viable for you to do as a Hispanic. And as the numbers have shown, really the reason that we're not getting more money isn't because we don't have the people, isn't because the money isn't there. It's because we have not been loud enough about giving access to this education and to these opportunities. So I hope that today's episode really just ignited something in you so that you could help our cohort, our community grow financially, okay, without debt and with the help of investors who are already giving away their money anyway, who are already supporting other businesses anyway. Why not you? Why not us? Thank you so much for listening. Please do not forget to subscribe and rate the podcast. I love the DMs that you guys have been sending me. I love the text messages and the emails. It would help so much if you would leave a review as we continue to grow the podcast and get really loud and obnoxious about this funding message. More people need to hear it. You guys tell me that all the time, and I want you to be a co-participant of sharing this message. Share it with someone, leave your review, and I will see you in next week's episode. Many, many blessings on you, Visionary.